The images are stark, a nation in distress. Streets that once bustled with life now echo with uncertainty and worry. The faces of ordinary Russians reflect a deepening sense of unease, as if the very soul of the country is weighed down by an invisible burden. From Primoria to Crimea, lines of cars, trucks and buses stretch for kilometers, snaking through city streets and rural roads alike. The queues seem endless, a daily reminder of a crisis that refuses to fade. Drivers wait for hours, sometimes days, just to fill their tanks. Some sleep in their cars, clutching hope that fuel will arrive by morning. Others share stories, food and frustration, forming a community bound by hardship. This is Russia, autumn 2025. A country once proud of its energy dominance, now running on empty. The silence at deserted gas stations is haunting, a stark contrast to the roaring engines of the past. Frustration boils over in arguments and blaring horns. Tempers flare as patience wears thin, and the stress of waiting becomes almost unbearable. This is not just inconvenience, it's a national emergency, unfolding one empty gas tank at a time. Each no fuel sign is a symbol of a system under immense strain. Russia's oil reserves, once a symbol of power, have become a source of chaos. Idle equipment and overflowing storage tanks tell a story of mismanagement and missed opportunities. The crisis hits everyone: city commuters, rural farmers, families. No one is spared, as the fuel shortage ripples through every layer of society, disrupting routines and livelihoods. In cities, commuters leave before dawn, only to find no fuel signs. The early morning hope quickly turns to disappointment, as another day begins with uncertainty. In villages, harvests rot as tractors sit idle. Fields that should be alive with activity are eerily quiet, and the hard work of an entire season is left to waste. Disbelief is everywhere. How could this happen here? The shock is palpable as citizens struggle to comprehend the scale of the crisis. For decades, Russians believed in their country's energy superpower status. Now that story is collapsing. The pride of past generations is overshadowed by the crumbling infrastructure and broken promises. The problem spans 11 time zones, affecting millions. From the Baltic Sea to the Pacific Ocean, the fuel crisis unites the nation in hardship, crossing every border and boundary. Parents can't drive kids to school, workers risk losing jobs. The ripple effects are felt in every home, as families make impossible choices and daily routines unravel. The simple act of getting from A to B is now a daily struggle. Streets are lined with stalled cars, and people walk for miles, searching for solutions that never seem to come. The government's promises ring hollow as lines grow longer. Official reassurances are met with skepticism, and trust in leadership erodes with every passing day. 5 to 6 million drivers face severe problems, spending days searching for fuel. The scale of the crisis is staggering, with entire communities brought to a standstill. The car, once a symbol of freedom, is now a burden, a reminder of a system that failed. Abandoned vehicles line the highways, silent witnesses to a nation's struggle. The open road, once a symbol of Russia's vastness, now represents a journey that can't begin. Dreams of travel and opportunity are put on hold, replaced by a sense of isolation. The rhythm of daily life is paralyzed, replaced by uncertainty and anxiety. Every empty tank is a reminder of how fragile normalcy can be. For millions, the crisis is personal, not just political. Conversations at dinner tables are filled with worry, as families wonder what tomorrow will bring. The nation's energy pride has become its greatest vulnerability. What was once a source of unity and strength now exposes the cracks in the foundation of a nation on empty. The roots of this crisis are tangled in war, decay, and broken logistics. Ukrainian drone strikes have crippled key Russian oil refineries, slashing production. Refineries already aging and under-sanctioned can't be repaired quickly. Russia's reliance on railways for fuel transport has proven disastrous. Damaged tracks and military diversions break the supply chain. The military's insatiable demand for fuel means civilians get what's left. Often, not enough. Rationing for the front lines leaves ordinary people fighting for scraps. It's not one event, but a cascade: refinery shutdowns, logistical failures, and military priorities. The government underestimated the crisis, reacting too late. Having oil underground is meaningless if you can't refine or deliver it. The powerhouse of oil and gas is discovering its own limits. Across Russia, rationing is the new normal. What was once unthinkable, fuel scarcity in a nation famed for its energy reserves, has become a daily reality for millions. Strict limits, 20 or 30 liters per vehicle, barely cover essential travel. For many, it means choosing between work, family, and basic errands, with no room for spontaneity or emergencies. Drivers are trapped in endless cycles of queuing and anxiety. Hours are lost waiting, tempers flare, and uncertainty hangs in the air as people wonder if the pumps will run dry before their turn. Fuel coupons, relics of the Soviet era, are back, now more valuable than rubles in some regions. These slips of paper have become a new currency, traded and hoarded as lifelines. Coupons don't guarantee fuel, just a spot in line. Even with a coupon, there's no certainty you'll get what you need, only a hope that supply will last. A new social hierarchy emerges. Those with connections get coupons, others are left behind. Influence and favors now determine who moves and who stays put. Digital rationing, QR codes and government apps, excludes the elderly and gives the state new control over movement. For many, technology is a barrier, not a solution, deepening the divide. Every trip is planned, non-essential travel is gone. Families now strategize every outing, calculating routes and fuel consumption with military precision. Visiting family or taking a weekend trip is now a luxury. The freedom to travel, once taken for granted, has become a rare privilege reserved for the fortunate few. The psychological toll is immense: constant stress, fear of being stranded, and a sense of powerlessness. People worry not just about today, but about what tomorrow might bring. Life is governed by the fuel gauge. Every journey is a calculation, every kilometer a risk, as people watch the needle drop and hope it won't hit empty too soon. The state's failure to provide fuel is a daily reminder of broken promises. Scarcity is now institutionalized, and for many, hope is running on fumes. The fuel crisis has upended daily life for millions across Russia, touching every household and community. As temperatures drop, the struggle to stay warm becomes more desperate, and the uncertainty of tomorrow weighs heavily on families. Public transport is slashed, buses are overcrowded or missing entirely, leaving commuters stranded and city streets eerily quiet during what should be the busiest hours. Many can't get to work, unpaid leave is common, and families suffer as incomes vanish. Some walk miles in the cold while others are forced to stay home, uncertain when things will improve. Small businesses are paralyzed, deliveries are sporadic, shelves go unstocked, and operations grind to a halt. Owners face impossible choices and employees fear for their futures. The economic impact is immediate and severe. Families count dwindling savings, and the sense of financial security evaporates almost overnight. Even emergency services are strained. Ambulances and fire trucks are forced to limit their response, sometimes unable to reach those in need quickly. In rural areas, help may not arrive at all. Isolated communities are left to fend for themselves with little hope of outside assistance. Trash piles up in cities, creating new health hazards and compounding the daily struggles of residents. The risk of disease grows as basic services falter. Farmers can't harvest crops, tractors sit idle, and food rots in the fields. The loss is not just economic, but deeply personal for those who depend on the land. The agricultural sector is devastated, threatening food security for the coming year and leaving entire regions anxious about what lies ahead. The crisis is not just economic, it's a threat to the fabric of society. Communities gather in worry, and the bonds that hold people together are tested. The prospect of food shortages is now real. Shelves are bare, and long lines form for basic necessities, fueling anxiety and uncertainty. Scarcity is reshaping Russian life at every level, forcing people to adapt, endure, and find new ways to support one another in the face of ongoing hardship. The fuel shortage has triggered a dangerous domino effect. Agriculture is collapsing. Crops can't be harvested or transported, distorting markets and bankrupting farmers. The food supply chain is under severe strain. Hospitals face silent crises. Medical supplies are delayed and staff struggle to reach work. Even basic items like bandages are running low. Logistics across Russia's vast distances have ground to a halt. Goods take weeks to move, if at all. Factories idle, store shelves empty, and commerce unravels. Construction, tourism, and even the postal service are paralyzed. Every sector that relies on movement is impacted. The crisis exposes the fragility of the modern economy. When fuel stops, everything else stops too. The Russian government's response has been desperate and chaotic. A temporary export ban on gasoline and diesel was announced with fanfare, but it failed to fix the core problems. Damaged refineries and broken logistics can't be solved by keeping fuel at home. The lines didn't shorten and no fuel signs stayed up. The government's actions were reactive, not strategic, patches on a gushing wound. Military reserves were tapped and fuel was prioritized for agriculture, but these were only temporary fixes. Policy flip-flops, banning then partially easing exports, created confusion and uncertainty. The image of a strong, centralized state has been shattered. The world now sees a government improvising, not leading. The crisis has exposed a lack of control at the very top. As winter approaches, the crisis deepens further. Fuel is now essential for heat and electricity. Shortages threaten survival, not just convenience. A thriving black market has emerged, with fuel sold at exorbitant prices. The divide between those who can pay and those who can't grows wider. Official prices soar, inflation rises, and families are squeezed. The black market is proof the official system has collapsed, economic pain intensifies, and public trust in the government evaporates. Russia's energy dominance, once a source of pride, is now a symbol of failure. The state's inability to provide fuel has shattered its narrative of strength. What was once national pride is now a national tragedy.